I was diagnosed in 2010. I was a public defender, and I was on my way home, and I came to a four-way stop near my house, and all of a sudden I didn't know whether to turn right or turn left or go straight. And at that moment I knew I had Alzheimer's. I haven't changed very much. I'm still who I was, and I believe that because I live alone, that's what's kept me in the early stage. I could have continued working, but I just didn't know how many good years I had in front of me. I have a daughter who is an accountant. She will be taking over my finances. At this time, I can still balance my checkbook. Yay! But at some point, she has the power of attorney to take over my finances. With regard to when I can no longer take care of myself, a year ago I went to look at assisted living facilities. I guess I'm not really ready for assisted living because I can still do everything. There are things that people who have dementia that they can do, and that is being socially active, eating a Mediterranean diet, exercising, taking memory meds as directed. I was diagnosed 7 years ago, and I'm still doing great.
I was born in Portland and raised in the Pacific Northwest.
My husband was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's a little over 8 years ago. And we kind of knew something was happening. And it comes on gradually. He would have an episode of something strange, like driving past a road closed sign and not seeing it.
The straw that actually broke the camel's back was what we call the kitchen cabinet incident.
One morning I walked into the kitchen and saw Bob pulling on the side of the kitchen cabinet. And I stood and watched him for a few minutes, and he just kept pulling on the same side. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, it won't open."
And finally she tells me, "Well, why don't you should open the other side." So I reach around, and of course the cabinet door opens.
My stomach just turned over, and I thought, this is not lack of focus. This is cognitively something very different. So we went back, and that's when we started the process of the testing and so on, and found out that he was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's.
The sooner one finds out whether or not they have cognitive issues, the sooner they can get started on an active program to help themselves.
Bob quickly got on medication. He exercised. He started eating right. we started working on all the things that could help Alzheimer's progress more slowly. But I also think it's important to talk to each other about how you want to proceed and how you want things to happen in the future, because the guilt can be both ways. You know, if I have to make decisions for my partner later on, that he's at some point not going to remember that we talked about it, but I know we talked about it, he said he wanted this and he wanted it to be done this way, then I won't feel guilty when I have to do that because he won't remember it. So we should discuss the future while everybody's alert.
Juanita and I, of course, started working on paperwork, changing some of our insurance and our other legal paperwork that we have to make sure that our finances were properly set in order. Wills, powers of attorney, making some minor changes there. And I, of course, strongly recommend this to anybody out there.
The quicker you act, the better time you're going to have. You can plan, you can organize your life.
Since then, Juanita and I have tried to do as much traveling as we can. We both love to travel. We've been fortunate in being able to do that, even with the dementia. We find ourselves at this point in our life with no regrets.
I had volunteered for the American Red Cross, and I was going on 51 years. I've been on the Board of Governors. I've run many, many, many disasters. It was a wonderful time.
It was 2015, 3 years ago. Julie came to me and told me she was having problems primarily doing mathematics at that point, having trouble doing simple math and whatever.
I started to notice things about myself.
If someone feels they have some kind of cognitive impairment, whatever that is, there are many causes of cognitive impairment.
Just because you forget, it's not Alzheimer's.
It's really important not to ignore it and to get evaluated, and then go from there.
One of the things that when I was diagnosed, I was amazed at what I did not know about Alzheimer's.
You start at the beginning. Again, Julie and I have shared our lives for 60 years. We don't have any secrets from each other, so we were very open about what it is we needed to do and how we'd go about doing it. We found reading, support groups, outreach, staying engaged are all things that are really important. And so that's the kind of advice I think Julie and I would give anyone who has any concern about cognition in any way.
What is the harm in finding out if you have it or not? I mean, if you feel for it, let's all appear. But eventually, if you have it, you're going to find out you have it. So why not find out? And when it's not so bad, when you can still function, so that you can make all kinds of arrangements.
We're a pretty close family. Our 3 boys and their wives, who are like daughters to us, and our grandchildren, and so it was very, easy in that sense to involve them in these conversations.
And I tell everyone I have Alzheimer's, and people think, they'll say, really? Like, if you tell somebody, they're no longer going to be your friend. Well, that's the furthest thing from the truth. you will find that if you speak from your heart and are honest with people, they won't reject you. They will help you.
No different than saying, hey, my husband was found to have colon cancer. You know, Julie was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's disease, and this is what we're going through, and people really have reached out, and it's been absolutely wonderful. All our kids at one point or another said, well, either we're going to come live near you, or we'd like you to come live near us. And said, we have an incredible support structure where we are. That's the last thing we want to do is to move away from that.
And we just have to work through it, up to it, and we'll see. There's always hope. The main thing I continue to do is to stay social. I've read that that's probably, and that's what happens to people. There's a stigma attached to Alzheimer's, um, and so people stop socializing, and that's probably the worst thing that you can do is to stop socializing. You have to keep doing the same things you do to keep your brain active.
I use electronics to help me. So I've got a cell phone, and in that cell phone, of course, I've got my family and my friends in there, and I've got a GPS in there, and I've got a camera, and I use electronics to the ultimate. They are my friends.
I know at some point I'm going to forget my children and my grandchildren's names. And that to me is the most devastating thing about this whole Alzheimer's thing. I can live with everything else, but to forget my kids' names and my grandkids. So I spend time, and I have this picture. I actually have it in just about every room in my house. This picture was taken in chronological order from the youngest to the oldest. And so I will say, okay, this is Mackenzie. And Mackenzie's is Beth and David's daughter. See, and it takes me a while. I should be able to say that without even thinking, but it takes me, and I go down the line until I get to the oldest, who just happens to be me, and I do that for every single face, so that I won't forget them.
There are 5 activities that I very strongly recommend for anybody who believes they have Alzheimer's or has been diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. Eating healthy, which for me is not always that easy, but trying best I can to eat healthy. Exercise your brain as much as you can. I have applications on my tablet. I do Jeopardy. I do trivia questions. I've done Sudoku, crossword puzzles, all sorts of things to exercise your brain. Healthy exercise, and I mean sweat. For example, I go use a training bicycle, try and go every day and get healthy exercise. That's number 3. Number 4, get on a program of medication. I take a medication called galantamine, which hopefully has been helpful. And number 5, engage in social interaction. We lived in a house for 35 years out in Lakewood. It became an empty nest. Social interaction was not on the calendar, which is one of the main reasons why we decided to move here. This has really, really helped me as far as activities, meeting people, doing things together. And so for 8.5 years now, I've been rigorously trying to do these types of things to help slow the progress. After 8.5 years, the progress has been relatively slow.
What you have just seen and heard are tips from Washingtonians who were diagnosed early with dementia and continue to live full lives. If you or a loved one are in this situation, remember, you're not alone. There are around 110,000 people in Washington state currently living with dementia. Reach out for more information and support today.
Being a caregiver is just kind of something we fell into. Came about when Chris was diagnosed at the age of 45 with Alzheimer's.
The thing I've learned the most is that I have to just let things go, and I have to be realistic and not blame him and not get irritated.
Really, my first thought would be the website. Go to the Alzheimer.org website. It has incredible information.
There are support groups. I go to a support group.
It's okay to ask for help. Don't try to do it yourself. I mean, it was taking all 4 of us.
And I have to accept that he's going to make mistakes and that he's going to say things that aren't true. And I just have to let it go, unless it's important. And that's hard for me.
Julie will accuse me at times of hovering, and I do. You help in whatever way you can in a non-judgmental way. Julie and I go over our calendars together almost every day, every other day. You know, what are we doing today? What are we doing tomorrow? Whatever. So that's something that's right up front. We're just partners, and we just do those things together.
Although he's the most cheerful person on earth, he gets frustrated when he messes up, and I try to help him understand that's normal, that's okay. It's not something to feel guilty about. And I try to reassure him I'm doing okay as well.
The main support group that we'd been involved with for the last couple, 3 years is very good in that we all come together as a group, and then we separate with facilitators for those that are having cognitive impairment and for the care partners, and you get a chance to, you know, it's happy and it's sad. Happy, that's not the right word, but you're learning from other people of what they're going through and whatever. That is really a strength for us. We found the support groups to be very helpful.
Go to workshops that are offered. They're free. They even have daycare, and get information and people's take on how they've handled it. But the dementia roadmap is something you can take home and have with you all the time, and tells you step by step what to expect in each situation, each stage, and not only how you can help your loved one, but how you can help yourself.
It's hard. It clearly is hard. It is certainly hard for the person who has the illness. it's also frustrating for the partner. But you have to keep reminding yourself about that. Someone with Alzheimer's is very much living within the moment, and you have to learn to adjust to that and really learn not to get frustrated very hard.
The other advice that I would give a caregiver is to take good care of yourself. I can't take care of somebody else and be calm and patient and absorb the irritations unless I have a cushion. I have enough fun in my life, enough joy, enough happiness, enough fulfillment to be able to absorb that and not get irritated and to be patient. I think it's essential.
A dementia-friendly community is where the people with whom we interact regularly, whether it's in a restaurant or in a shop or whatever, that they are aware of how to interact with a person with dementia.
Can I get on the bus and say something to the bus driver? So, oh, okay, Mr. Berger, we know, and I'll let you know when we get to that street and where you have to go. You have to keep in mind that in Alzheimer's disease, that early stage may go on for several years, where people are absolutely functional. They can drive, people can do all those kind of things. And so when I think of a community that's friendly toward that, it's communities that are aware that people have cognitive impairment.
There's an area in Seattle, it's called the Greenwood area, and we have Alzheimer's cafes, and we chat, we eat, we talk.
In Vancouver, there are 2 restaurants that have trained their staff to deal with people that have cognitive impairment. The way the menu is organized.
Talk more slowly, have a little more patience, be prepared to repeat.
Are there community activities for people who are cognitively impaired? Are there walks? Are there bird watchers? People go to the museum. There are all kinds of things that communities can do to reach out to people who have cognitive impairment.
We have an out and about. It's an hour and a half, and they choose a route for us to take. And we have a volunteer who leads us.
My cousin, who lives in Linden, had the church people sign up for a day a week. And so they would come, somebody would come one afternoon a week, every day of the week, and come and either play games or talk or take walks or whatever, and she could clean or she could do other things, which really freed her up a lot.
Our population is aging. I don't have to remind you, 1 in 10 people over age 65, 1 in 3 people over 85 have some form of cognitive impairment. So there are a lot of us old folks walking around, and communities need to rise up to provide support for that.